Now, a coalition of political parties in Mozambique called the Democratic Alliance Coalition has meanwhile rejected yesterday's announced election results. The CAD, which is led by Venâncio Mondlane and Maneca Daniels, who are both in exile, also demands a government of national unity or a transitional government. For more on this, we're now joined by Solomon Mondlane, who is the CAD's international relations representative. Solomon, a very good evening to you. Thanks very much for your time. You are rejecting the results that were announced yesterday by the Constitutional Council.
Good evening, Vuyo, and thank you so much for this opportunity, and good evening to the viewers at home. Before maybe I respond to your question, I want to say CAD was not surprised by the decision by the Constitutional Council. We may know that the Constitutional Council have got 7 members who are appointed by the ruling party, and the head of the Constitutional Council was appointed by the president. So these are men and women who are not voted by the people. And of course, we're expecting that they were going to protect their interests, protect the political party in power, because that's where their lifestyle comes from. Yes, as CAD.
Well, before we get there, let's stay with that for a second. I mean, it's not quite an anomaly. I mean, in democracies around the world, the sitting government, including the sitting president, are the ones who normally appoint members of the judiciary, precisely because they are an elected government.
Of course. But again, we expect that once they're in those positions, they detach themselves from the political party in power and serve the people equally. But in our case in Mozambique, they actually serve their ruling party. They continue to take instructions of the ruling party. And this has been happening for the past 30 years. And as CAD, we know that the only elections which we can say the ruling party, Frelimo, won were in 1994, because we don't have proof to stand against that. But the elections after, there's so much doubts because there were so many complaints, there were so many proofs that were brought in. So in a normal democracy, of course, we're going to say these are men and women who stand with the community, with the people, without looking who comes from which political party.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because, I mean, even long before October, the elections in October, everything, everyone I spoke to on the program and across the channel, they were actually predicting a Frelimo victory. So the outcome isn't in and of itself wasn't a surprising one.
It's not a surprising one, because the system was created to enable fraud. The electoral system in our country was created in such a way that they can manipulate it, whereby people, they go to vote on the voting day, and the results are not announced at the polling stations. They are counted in other areas. Even observers are not allowed to get and observe those, to monitor the voting process. Then they are taken to the district of the commission, the Electoral Commission, then to the head office of the Electoral Commission. There at the Electoral Commission, also they will be doing their own counting, and surprisingly, they will be doing a voting again. Meaning that once they vote in favor of the results that they've counted, the votes they've counted, then they will take that to the system. So within the constitutional, the Electoral Commission offices, that's where these manipulations and frauds, they start to be cooked. There's so much manipulations being done in the background of the Electoral Commission. So the system itself was made in such a way that there is not any other way. But when it's not going well, we're going in favor of the ruling party, they will find a way to give victory to the ruling party.
Now, you're saying it also doesn't matter at all to you that the top electoral court actually revised the numbers down and giving the Frelimo candidate 65% of the vote as opposed to the previously announced 70%. Even that too doesn't come anywhere near sort of pacifying you or making you feel that something was done this time around.
The Constitutional Council, Vuyo, has lost its credibility. And votes, this is what the people need to know. Votes are not negotiated. Votes are counted. Now, what happened with the CC? They negotiated the votes amongst themselves, among the 7 members of the Constitutional Council. Because during the beginning of the complaints coming in their offices, they accepted that there were so many discrepancies. And when there are discrepancies, that means the Electoral Commission didn't do its work well. So what we were expecting from a body like the Constitutional Council was to invalidate the elections, was to maybe call for a recount of the votes, or to send people back to the polling station to revote. Those are the only things that they could have done. But now to tell us that from 71%, President Daniel Chap of Frelimo down to 65, then 21% of Venâncio Mondlane, up to 24%, then you tell us you have made justice. That's electoral truth. No, that has beaten them. And maybe they think Mozambicans are stupid at this moment. And I've been always saying, they destroyed the education system, trying to make Mozambicans not to question them. Because if you destroy the education system, you want to govern people who cannot question you. Not at this time. Frelimo can see people are demanding their rights. The will of the people should be respected.
Now, Mozambique has been on edge since the October 9 elections. Now, yes, this decision by the Electoral Court it wasn't going to change that, even if the numbers were, say, hypothetically, had been, in other words, there were bigger margins. In other words, the numbers that the Electoral Court would have come up with would have been significantly higher for your coalition and significantly lower for Frelimo. The big question really is, what needs to happen now for you to be happy? And aren't you here trying to get via the back door what you failed to get at the polls?
Vuyo, before maybe I respond to that, the Constitutional Council has been on loggerheads with Venâncio Mondlane since last year during the municipal elections. We know that Venâncio won the municipality election to lead the Maputo municipality. But the Constitutional Council, they did as they're doing currently. And when Venâncio came to register with card, to lead card for the presidential elections, they stood against card. They removed card from the list that should take place, that should participate in the presidential elections. And Venâncio went to the elections as an independent candidate with an agreement with Podemos, who are now supporting him. Now you can see that they've been targeting Mondlane because of the following that Venâncio Mondlane has, and the people understanding the language that he speaks. He speaks the language that they want to hear. The education system is dead. Poverty is rising. Unemployment among our people. So many minerals that are going out of this country that are not benefiting the people of Mozambique. And Venâncio is speaking the language that the people understand very well. What then are we looking for? Because the Constitutional Council has already made a decision, and that's the institution above all legal institutions in the country. We as CAD was saying, an inclusive dialogue at this moment. We need an inclusive dialogue, but before we talk about a dialogue, we are calling on our government, please put the guns down. Put the guns down. These are your own people. These are your own citizens whom you are killing every day. Now we're counting more than 140 people who have been killed. Of course, we've got about more than 10 police officials, also are Mozambicans, whom were saying it shouldn't have happened, who also have been killed during this protest. We are saying guns down. Then we're calling for an inclusive dialogue. We're saying drop all the charges against Venâncio Mondlane. If you need really peace, if you need to talk, drop all charges against the protesters, release them from prison, because these were unarmed people who most of the cases were provoked when marching. Of course, what happened yesterday triggered even the past, because people were shot in their houses. They were killed in their houses even if they were not marching. So what happened between yesterday and today has demonstrated to the government to say the people's will should prevail. And how is the people's will going to prevail? It is by sitting down with the leader who's calling for this protest. This time, he didn't say anything. The voters just went to the streets, just went to the institutions and started showing their anger, claiming their power. What they are doing, they're trying to claim their power. They want a voice. They want to be listened. They want things to change in the country. So we're calling for an inclusive dialogue to end all this at this moment, because we want to go into the next 5 years with a group of leaders, not with one political party. Remember, people no longer trust Frelimo. You remember the hidden debt scandal, whereby now we have the former minister in prison of America. That we have so much corruption in our country. Our health system is eroded. So people cannot trust one party that can lead for the next 5 years. But if we join hands with Frelimo, of course, during our dialogue, we need to also open for amnesty to say, guys, we are not going to take anybody to court or whatever. Let's restart rebuilding our country as Mozambicans, because this country belongs to all of us. The slogan for Venâncio for the past two months, it was saying, this country belongs to us. This country is ours. The slogan for Daniel Chap, it was saying, Vamos trabalhar. Let's go and work. Let's go and work. That's all what we want to do as Mozambicans, together, rebuilding this country, because there are so many things Mozambicans are questioning. The war in Cabo Delgado. They're questioning, why are there foreign soldiers from a small country while we have this?
It's unlikely at this stage that Frelimo is going to accede to your demand, especially on the back of the Electoral Court's decision. You already have over 100 people that have died in the country by yesterday, according to Amnesty International. Where to from here? What levers do you still have to use, but which will also ensure that there is no more blood that gets shed?
The opposition is open for dialogue, but now this is war between Frelimo and the people on the ground, the voters on the ground. This is not about Venâncio Mondlane anymore. This is about the people. And if Frelimo is interested to engage Venâncio's leadership, they are welcome. It's time to engage. But if they will say we cannot negotiate, We cannot talk. We cannot go for dialogue. The people, they will respond to the people. Of course, what's painful, Vuyo, is that we're losing more lives, dying in the hands of your government.
And the country's
Frelimo
economy.
must know that we're not all enemies of and the country's economy. But Frelimo must know that not everybody is an enemy of Frelimo. We are not enemies of Frelimo. We are saying, come back, Frelimo, let's sit down, because this political party, this is being Frelimo, was formed by our forefathers who went to Tanzania to take up arms and fight against the white regime. And they were so courageous. But over 49 years, people are disappointed by Frelimo. Vuyo, if you enter in any office of this country, government office, it's like you're owing them. You bribe anything. You pay bribe for everything that you want to do. Is this the lifestyle that we need to live in this country? No, surely Frelimo can see there are many mistakes they've committed in the past. But we're not saying people, they must be locked. We're saying there will be amnesty. Let's work together. But this period, it's open for that. It's open for that. Let them not rush to put themselves in position and continue to run the country as if everything is right. The institutions in this country, government institutions, have been burning since last night. People are saying no one from Frelimo can continue using those institutions to enslave us, to cause misery on us. We are not all enemies of Frelimo. We are saying we want the best for the country.
Solomon Mondlane, let me thank you very much for your time. Well, it is indeed a standoff. So many demands, as you heard there. But on the other hand, you do have Frelimo sticking to its guns, saying it had a legitimate election. There was a legitimate election that it won, and that the top electoral court did actually confirm that, even though it somewhat sort of revised the numbers. We shall see what happens there.